Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today I'm with a 3-time platinum Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, as well as an artist and a producer. He's set to release a new single. It's my pleasure to introduce Will Jordan.
What's up? Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, and that was a phenomenal intro.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, the first thing I noticed when I was doing research on you is, of course, the Nicki Minaj, writing for Nicki Minaj. So, I've done quite a few interviews in the past 2 years now.
Oh, nice.
And I've had quite a few older artists on. Not saying you're an older
right.
artist.
Yeah. Oh.
But something that I've seen with a lot of older artists that I've had on the podcast is sometimes they live in the past with their accolades.
Oh, wow.
Do you feel that with this Nicki Minaj Fly single, is that something that you let define your music career or no?
I think early on, it was a really big deal for us just because that was what kind of set us apart from other artists or local rappers and singers and songwriters from the area. I'm from Tacoma, Washington.
Tacoma.
Yeah, and so like we knew a couple people that had like placed records with people, but it was like they were like it's almost like they were in another dimension because of the success they had found, and we didn't really see them that often. So we always aspired to like reach that next level and like work with artists that were doing big things. So I think when the first year,
and this was 2014, by the way.
Well, this was before that. It's
Okay.
2010.
2010.
So for 2010, 2011, it was like everywhere we go, like this is how we introduce ourselves. When I did a concert, I would sing the song at the concert. I would tell the story because it was like that's what it took for people to recognize me or for people to take me seriously. I think around 2010 or 2011, I got offered like a artist deal, which helped me to kind of step out of the songwriter role and seeing myself as a songwriter and to take myself more seriously as an artist. And then I think I toured the first time in 2013. After that tour, I realized like, okay, I'm supposed to be here. I'm meant to do this. I appreciate that record. I appreciate Nicki. I appreciate Rihanna and the other stuff I've written. But I know that the mark I want to leave is one as an artist and as a teacher and as a producer and as an inspiration or artist that inspires people from Tacoma to go beyond what we thought our limits were. So yeah, it's like it comes in handy when you got to like knock on doors and you got to get stuff done. When like especially for like media and things like that, because everybody wants to know like how it came about and how that stuff happened. But for me, most of the people, I've gotten to a point and I work to get to a point where if people listen to my music, that's what they're thinking about. That was my goal. Is like I want to start from scratch, and I want people to define me based on what I've done for myself and not necessarily what I've done for other people. I know it's going to pop up, and that was a really important thing. I think it was Sir Mix-a-Lot said to like honor your hits. He was like, don't ever shy away from the records that open doors for you, but also like keep moving forward and looking forward. So yeah.
But how do you feel about that single now? Is it something you're embarrassed about, or is it something you're like proud of? Or
I think that this I'm proud of it because of the story and the way it happened. If it was just like I got lucky and like I was just like, if my story was like I'm a kid from Tacoma and I do music and my uncle works in the music business and gave this record to Nicki Minaj and it took off, then it would kind of be like, okay, there's something I did. But like I needed something to happen when it happened. I needed to have a big record. I needed to make a big impact. And at that time, there was no bigger artist than Nicki and Rihanna. Yeah. So it was like the story behind that song and the way that it happened to me is more impactful, and it'll always stay with me. I'll always be indebted to Nicki because of what she doesn't know how big of a deal that was for me. When we met, she appreciated it, but it wasn't like, I know I just changed your life. I know you had a baby on the way and I did that for you. It was just like, she liked the song. But for me, it was more like, I was going to either do music or I was going to go back to working at a warehouse. And those were my options. And once you take that, it's hard to get back into that music lane once you go back, especially as a father. And as I was going to be a new husband, there's not a lot of opportunities for me to get back in the studio and work and and develop and learn and grow the way I needed to. Like being, and this is why I tell a lot of, I'm sorry, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent, but
yeah, no worries.
This is why I really try to emphasize like the importance of being a songwriter or spending time as a songwriter for newer artists in this area, because songwriting and even just working on the publishing side, like finding a way to earn an income as a songwriter gives you time to develop your craft, and also gives you a chance to get critiqued from people in a lot more direct ways and kind of harsh ways than you would as an artist normally. Because as an artist, we make a record, we make a song we like, and if we like it, it's good to us, and we put it out and we wait to see what the people think. As a songwriter, you write a record. If you're writing with someone else, they got to approve of it. The producer has to approve of it. The A&R that you're working with has to like it. Then the A&R that they send it to has to like it. Then and the producer has to like it, and the artist has to like it. Then their team has to like it. Then the label has. So there's a lot more scrutiny, and there's a lot more like people picking and prodding and critiquing. But you learn from those critiques.
I feel like that could like break someone.
It can. It definitely can. But it depends on where you want to go with your music. If it's more like I want to like do stuff locally and I want to make an impact and I want to make art and I want to like just inspire people and be inspired, then you don't need, I wouldn't even worry about that, because it will change the way you look at music, and it turns it into a business.
But that's what music is nowadays.
If you're not ready for the music business, then that's where you stay. If you're ready to deal with the music business and you want like to deal with real life when it comes to music, then that's a safer way of going through it than doing it with your own music. If you go through that process as an artist and it's your own records that you're putting out for yourself, and you're getting those critiques and you're getting beat down by the label and by A&Rs and by producers and by managers and by agents, it hurts a lot more because it's your stuff. But when you're writing for someone else, you're a little further removed from the song. So if I write the song for a 14-year-old girl and it's about like her first boyfriend in high school, and the producer hates the song, I'm not going to be like, oh, okay, ouch, this broke. But if it's like a song about my grandmother that passed away, and it's about me finding inspiration again after this horrible loss, and they're just beating that song, that hurts way more. So that's why I say like try to like take that approach. And it's a good way to get thicker skin, and to be ready for what you're going to hear in your Instagram comments, to be ready for what you're going to hear from these blogs and writers and media people that are going to critique and give you feedback on your record. So I to go back to the original question, I do think I'd see the song. I know we took a huge left turn, but
that's the NAST podcast.
Yeah, but I do appreciate that song, and I appreciate what that moment meant for me, and the doors that it opened and the opportunities that it brought me, and a lot of people in my city. It wasn't just me that it affected. So.
Yeah, and there's so many things to just pull apart from what you just said. There's like a lot of gems there, honestly. So I want to start with the music part, how you're saying music's, like songwriting's like a business. Do you feel like you can even become successful until you realize that music's a business? Because I know so many artists who don't want to see it as a business, but music's definitely a business. It's not something you can just put out a song and you're just successful.
Yeah, the music business is a business. I think you have a choice, and you can decide how far into it you want to go. I wish more people were aware of what comes with it. I think that's the hard part, is that sometimes people will see a talented artist coming up, and they'll see like the potential that the artist has, or the producer has, or the songwriter has, and so they will paint this picture of like what the industry's like, so that the artist will just waltz in there or skip into that world thinking that it's going to be a certain way, and they don't really prepare them because they don't want to scare them away. So I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. I think that if more people knew what it was really like and what you really dealt with, and like the business side of it, I think more people would be prepared and it wouldn't take such a toll. I think a huge problem that we have in the industry today is that a lot of people are not taught, for one, how to cope with the struggles and the hardships they face. There's not enough like mental health support. I think on the label side of things, I think that if there was more emphasis on just the artist's health and the artist's well-being and the artist's mental state or mind state, while they're going about their career, I think that we'd be in a much better place. But I think that they just kind of rush people into it, and people find other ways to cope and find other ways to like balance out or to deal with the pain that they're dealing with, or the depression they're dealing with, or the loss that they're dealing with.
Can you go into
But
detail? Like, what are some examples of
yeah,
this?
I mean, over the last 6 years, I've lost count of how many artists have overdosed or how many artists have like we've lost because of depression, because of mental health issues, and because of problems that they faced. And I think that if every team, I do this little thing with artists that are in development where I give them this shared Apple Note, and it has a layout of what your team will look like at different stages. And your basic team is like a manager, business manager, tour manager, engineer, producer, DJ, musicians, and like maybe like a couple other people that help out. But none of those lists or none of those teams, even the ones I've made, none of them have therapists. None of them have a counselor. None of them have like nutritionists. None of them have doctor or dentist. It's all just like business, profit. So I think that I think it's important to like start having those conversations. And I see people on there's a couple pages I follow on Instagram that talk about that kind of stuff, because there's been a lot of change over the last maybe year or so in the music business, and they're doing a lot of work to hold people accountable on a big scale, and like in LA and New York and like in the actual business. But up here in the Pacific Northwest, we don't have that yet.
But accountable towards like mental health,
yes.
Or like.
So if I can speak from experience as an artist, okay, so for example, you work 2 years on an album to put the album out, and maybe you had a great first album and you're getting ready to do your sophomore project, and this is a really big deal. This is the one that will make or break your career. And you put all this time all this time and energy into it. The labels advance you a bunch of money to put towards it. You're paying your team, you're taking care of your people, you got people depending on you. You do everything you can to make this the best project you've ever done. You put it out, everybody hates it. The music business, the way it is now, you just got to take that, and that's just life, and you're just not good enough, and your comments, your Instagram comments are just full of "you're trash, you're not good, flop, you're a fluke, this and that." Like this person's way better than you, comparing this person to you, comparing that person to you. Needle Drop is giving you a 2. Like, it's just like all this stuff is coming at you nonstop, and you're just one person. Now, if you have somebody to talk to about those things that can help you to kind of like recalibrate and to understand what's important and to appreciate where you're at and to like vent to, it's a different situation. But when it's just you and all you have is your phone, and like the best advice you get is to turn your phone off. Like there's way more problems than just what you're getting in your Instagram comments. Now I got to figure out, I got to make this money back. If I don't, I'm going to be shelved, or I'm not going to be able to put another project out. I got people depending on me. This guy has a family. This girl has a family. My parents have helped me with this. These people loaned me money. These people invested in my tour, and I'm not going to sell no. There's like a lot of stress, and there's a lot of problems that come with that. When I think about like what's going on right now with Kanye and Drake, like we see them as characters almost. I think a lot of people see them as characters and not as people. And everything they do, we think it's like a strategy. Everything Kanye does is a marketing ploy. Everything Drake does is, but like a lot of that stuff, there's a lot of stuff that they do that's just life and stuff that happens, and they figure out how to take it and turn it into art. But when we see that, we think, oh, they planned this the whole time and they meant to do this the whole time. No, there was a mistake. He made a mistake, and now he's gonna capitalize off of it. So it's. I think that there's not enough support, and there's not enough like empathy, because we can't understand what it's like to be in their shoes. They have a hard time even remembering what it's like to be in our shoes, but we will never know what it's like to be Drake. I wouldn't like as an empath, and as someone that's very sensitive and that can't help but to feel other people's feelings, whether I want to or not. I'm very mindful of how I speak about people's music and how I speak about people on the internet, because for one, I never know if they're going to see it or not, or if you're going to run into them or have to work with them. But also, like, I think about how I would feel if somebody said that to me. And I know that I'll leave, like, I think earlier today, no, it was yesterday. I seen them posting about Soulja Boy ranting about Kanye because he took his verse or he didn't keep his verse.
Do you follow Academics and Grand Wizard Chattanooga?
I don't follow them, but I hear. I'm like a step removed from them, so I hear people. I follow people that follow them, but I try to.
It's the funniest shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
But that's the. I get why it works and I get why people are entertained by it, but I also feel it when I say it. Like, so I seen Soulja Boy talking about his verse, and I left a comment. I think it was like in the shade room or something like that, and I left a comment like the verse is trash or something like that. And I it was there for like 30 seconds. I was like, I deleted it because I'm like, I wouldn't want to say if I knew him. I don't know him, so like. If he's sitting next to me, I wouldn't say that to him.
Right.
So that's what I remind myself, like, is this how you would talk if this person was there in person? And is this how you really feel? Or are you just trying to like get likes on this comment? And so when I think of it like that, that's just me. Mm-hmm. And that even then I still struggle. I still leave shade and I still subtweet people and like all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, if I can't handle the idea of one person saying this to me, like, what would it be like to have millions of followers and they're all leaving like an emoji under your comment to like talk crazy? So it's just, I know I know that it's a business and I know that there's a lot that comes with it. And I think that we could do more, or I think more could be done on the team side and on the industry side and the label side of things to balance things out.
I'm not even fully part of the industry yet, and I see that on the outside even with like localness, like local politics. Like I see a lot of like I used this example in the previous podcast, but it still holds true. Like all artists will know like one certain artist and they'll all have the same opinion,
right?
That could either help make or break that artist, but they won't none of those artists, like 100 artists might know, they be thinking the same thing about one artist, but no one will tell that artist what's really going on. And that's just local politics in Seattle, even.
Can you go deeper on that, or maybe not a real example of like an example of what you mean by like with a fake artist?
Let's see, like if an artist has been making music for even, let's just say 5 years,
right?
And there's no growth, but there's obvious ways they can grow, and people are just around them saying, "Oh my God, you're doing great! Just one more year, you're gonna make it!"
Right.
But in the back of like the back room, all those artists that are saying, they're like, dude, that guy's fucking awful. And he if he just but anyone that says that, they're like, if he just fixes that, or if she just fixes that, they have what it takes. Yeah. They just need to figure out how to fix that. Right. But then as a whole collective, people are like, you're doing great. You got it.
Nobody wants to hurt. And I think a big part of that too is that was
and that's 5 years wasted that people could have helped them.
That they could have helped. And that's one of the reasons, that's one of the things that pushes me and motivates me, is that I want to get to a point, just as someone from Tacoma and as someone from the Pacific Northwest, I want to get to a point where people can look at me and look at what I've done, not just listen to my music, but look at me and look at what I've done career-wise and be like, okay, this person knows where to go. Because it's one thing for me to have like the experience or the knowledge or the skill or ability and tell somebody, hey, if you just tweak this, this will be better. Because a lot of people hear that, but they don't really take it seriously, or they'll hear it, but their pride or whatever is going on will stop it from like really getting through.
But then what I see to those type of people who are too prideful,
right?
They're probably just never going to make it.
I would totally agree with that 10 years ago, but that's who I was when I was 21, 19, 20. I remember one of my good friends. She told me, she said, your sound, I was 19 years, that's crazy. She was like, your sound is going to make sense 3 years from now. And I was like, what's she talking about? I'm about to be famous tomorrow. I'm the next Kanye. I'm the next Jay-Z. She doesn't know what she's talking. And I didn't like, and a lot of advice I would get back then, it was just like, they don't know what they're talking about, or they're just hating, or they're just jealous. Because for one, I had my cerebral cortex hadn't developed yet fully. So I was still in a place where I couldn't make decisions or see things outside of my own perspective or see the world outside of myself. But also it was just like, it hurt my feelings because I'm like, why you don't believe in me now?
Yeah.
But it wasn't about her not believing in me. It was about me not being good enough. It took going through a lot. It took going through a lot of ups and downs and bumping my head a lot, and then being broken down and built back up for me to like understand that the solution for me and the way to get to where I wanted to go was to get better. It was never like just get better and you'll make it. It was always like, oh, I just got to meet this person, or I just got to get this, I got to get put on, or I got to get this opportunity, or I got to get to this radio station, or this producer has to see what I'm doing, or if we can just reach this mark, then people will respect us. But it was never like, just get better. It wasn't, it was 2013. I was on tour, and I'd done a show at a festival called Wango Tango in somewhere in California. And I got to do this really, really, really big show. It was a really big show for me, at least. And they didn't know who I was. They didn't know anything about that Nicki record. They didn't know anything about where I was from. They just knew I was a young singer, songwriter, and I was doing some songs. And I did my little 4 songs at this festival. And afterwards, there was a line I was in line for 2 hours signing autographs in this place that I'd never been to, with people that had never seen me before, and they believed I was a star. And I was like, dang, I'm good enough, because I had just gone through a bunch of stuff with the label, and then not believing in my records and not believing in what I wanted to do. And I lost a lot of confidence because it was like, dang, I'm not quite there. But getting that approval from those fans, let me know, okay, you're there, but just the label doesn't see it. That doesn't mean that you're not meant to be, or that you're not good enough. It means that they just don't see it. And I hit a crossroads because I'm like, okay, I could settle here and be just fine and just connect with my fans and just build an audience like that, which would be awesome. But I feel like I have a blind spot, because there's a reason that they like this artist, and they sign this artist, and they sign me, but they don't like what I'm doing. There's a reason for it, and I want to figure out what that reason is. And it hit me, and it was like, I got to get better.
And you didn't have anyone that could help you with this at the time?
Not at the time. That's another part of why what pushes me, is because I didn't have anyone that could check me. I didn't have anyone that could do what I could do better than I could do it. All the people that were around me were people that loved music and were passionate about music and felt like they knew what I was doing, but they didn't. In conversation, you realize like, this person doesn't know anything about mixing. This person doesn't know anything, because I was a rapper, a singer, a producer, and an engineer, and a songwriter. So all 5 of those angles, if you're coming at me as an engineer, that's dope, but you don't understand me as a producer. If you're coming at me as a singer, yeah, that's dope, but you don't understand me as an engineer, and vice. So it was just like, I didn't know anyone that could like help me in all those areas to balance those things out. So I clicked, like, I got to get better. If I'm not getting the streams I want to get, I got to make better music. If I'm not getting the shows I want to get, I got to make better music. If I don't have the fans I want, I got to make better music. If I'm not making the money I want, I got to make better music. All the things that I felt like people were holding back from me, and all the things I felt like the doors I felt were closed, and like the gatekeepers were keeping me out because they were jealous, like all that stuff. It was just like, I got to get better. If I get better, and if I get to the point where it's undeniable, then even if they don't like me, it's more beneficial for them to work with me.
But how can you tell if you're getting, like, how do you is it quantize, or like, how do
quantify?
You quantify that?
I look at results, and I look at results, and I look at feedback from people that I respect and people I admire. And that's a hard thing too, being in the Pacific Northwest, is that we don't have a lot of people that we can touch that, for one, that we admire, or that have the ear or the experience or the success that can even make a difference.
Is that because there's no record labels and people aren't getting signed, or like, what do you mean by that?
It's because the people that's a good question. I like your questions. It's because the people, I went on a rant about this probably a couple months ago. I hope I say what I said back then. I don't change it. But I believe it's because the people, the pillars that we have.
And your pillars, you mean people, or
as far as like the producers, like
got it.
the big dogs up here, the Jake Ones, the Vitamin D's, the Sir Mix-a-Lots, I don't think that they get the support or the respect or the reverence that they deserve. And I don't think that it's I think that it gets put on younger artists, up and coming artists, to give them that. But I think that there's a disconnect between like our legends and our media and our like money up here. I think that if the people that I think a lot of the people with the money and a lot of people with the pull are putting it behind the wrong things. And I think that if they knew who really drove the culture and who was really behind a lot of the stuff, and behind a lot of the talent and behind a lot of the artists that are coming up, I think if they put that into those people and put it into the right hands, it would be easier for them as legends to like make time for these newer artists. But if your foundation isn't supported, if your foundation isn't taken care of, or is cracked, or isn't cared for, or isn't respected, then what can they do for other people other than just survive? So
you think it comes down to like media outlets?
I think not just media outlets. And I was talking to a friend about this actually that works in media, and we're actually working on this right now. But I think that's a big part of it. I think that people don't know. I think that I have a friend named he goes by the name of Black Soul.
I had Black Soul on the podcast. I had him on, and then Loot, and they fucking put that song out on the, what is it? That video game last year. It was
Madden
2K
or Madden. Yeah,
Madden. Yep. That shit was dope.
So he's.
I love Black Soul.
So he's from where I'm from. He was one of the first people that used to buy beats from me at like an actual realistic price. He doesn't know. He paid a lot of bills for me back in the day. But he's one of the people that I look at as like, everybody should know who this person is. Every time they go anywhere, people should roll out the red carpet because of what he's accomplished. He's doing things that artists, most of my favorite artists, will never do and have never done, which is work. I don't know how much of his business is out there, but the people he's working with and the rooms he's in and the people that look up to him and that admire him and respect him, it's like, no, he should be able to do whatever he wants. I rant about this all the time on Twitter.
But also the thing is, I've been realizing, it's just a newer thing I've been thinking about, but I've been trying to connect all the different scenes and make them a Seattle scene. But I'm starting to realize that Tacoma is such a big area that they're their own scene.
Yeah.
So I think people in the Seattle scene kind of don't even think about Tacoma. That might be one of the issues.
Even if it's just in Tacoma, what I'm saying is that in Tacoma, he should have the key to the city. The stuff, the level of talent that he has, and the level of skill that he has, and just his character, like the way he carries himself and the way he moves, is like, you don't have to. I appreciate people. My younger brother Chris just left. Chris Jordan, he just left Tacoma to go to Yale.
Dope.
That's one person that's another person that like, they should have been paying him to stay in Tacoma because of what he brought to Tacoma. I'm getting emotional thinking about it because I'm still like sad that I'm glad he left, because I'm glad why he left.
Yeah.
But it's just like, we're losing our lights. We're losing the people
because they go to LA and
they got to go other places to survive, because you can't do it. It's hard to be up here and to keep going. It's hard to be up here and to be fighting for opportunities and fighting for scraps with like competing against people that haven't done anything or don't really care about. Have you ever been in the freeway and you got to get off? There's a part in Tacoma where you're like in downtown where you're going towards the Tacoma Dome.
Yeah.
And there's a lane that's set aside for people that are just going to this other highway. And when there's traffic, people that don't have any intentions of getting off on that exit will move over that way to avoid the traffic. So you get slowed down by people that really don't care about your lane, really aren't going where you're going. They're just here just because they want to pass time.
Jesus, that's deep. Damn.
There's a lot of that in music where people are just, I'm going to be an R&B singer today, and then tomorrow I'm going to be a rapper, and now I'm a producer, and now I'm not saying that you can't go around and try different things, but like stay out of the lanes of the people that are really serious about it. And there's a lot of opportunity. We're fighting for scraps. We're fighting for the smallest like checks and the smallest opportunities, and it doesn't make sense. I love Washington State, and I will always have a place here, and I'll always be here in some way. But I'm always like, what am I doing here? Because I love the people and I love the artists and I love the music and I love the story and I love the culture. But the place itself is just like, it feels like they don't need me here. And like, when I go other places, it's people can't wait to work or can't wait to do this or do that or put me on a show or do something to like do something, because they're like, what is going on? Why do you only have this many streams? Why are you only doing this? Why is this? Because they see the value. And when you're up here, it's hard to quantify the value. It's hard to know what this person's worth, because we don't have a real industry up here. There's not a lot of ways to make a lot of money.
But why don't we have an industry up here?
Because there's not a lot of ways to make a lot of money. The money has not,
So does that come down on like there not being enough good artists, or like why?
No, there's a lot. We have phenomenal, and that's the problem. We have phenomenal artists and nobody knows about. So that's the thing that's where the disconnect between us and the media is that nobody, for one, artists don't know how to go to media. We don't know who PR is. We don't know how that works, or not we, but a lot of people don't know how that works. They don't know how to get their projects out. They don't know how to promote their music properly. And the industry's changing to where you can't just put your music on a blog and expect it to take off. It's like you have to know where your music should even go, or who to talk to before release, how far before the release you should even be talking to people and doing interviews. A lot of people don't know that you can do like a daytime talk show or go to like a local news station and they'll talk about your stuff, because there's no communication there. So that, and then the people with the money and the sponsors and the companies that have the money and all these we have so much money up here.
Yeah.
And they like, it's like they see, the way I think of it, and I could be wrong, the way I think of it, and I hope they prove me wrong, the way I see it is that we are like art, and they can appreciate us and watch us and spectate us and look and listen without having to invest anything, because we're not going anywhere. Like
but we are, like, people are leaving,
but they don't know that. They don't know, because for one, they don't know who's here. And if they see an artist they like, it's like, oh, it's a painting. That's nice. I don't need to buy it. Like it's already there. I think the difference between us and between the what was it called? The Renaissance era. The difference between what's going on right now and the thing that's stopping us between having our own Renaissance era in the Pacific Northwest is there's no patrons. The Renaissance era was what it was because they were paying people to make the art, so people could survive, because it wasn't like Michelangelo. No, they weren't just painting paintings because they were inspired. They were getting hired to do these different jobs.
And is that outside of artists helping? Like, I was in a conversation the other day where this guy was saying if artists start paying to go to their friends' shows versus expecting to go for free, would that even change anything really? No,
because we're all broke. Nobody. Like, it's like, yeah, that's cool that there's a bunch of artists at the show, but like if I was just talking to someone who does a really, really successful like show out in LA, like a recurring show, and they do tours and all kinds of stuff, and he was talking about how like this doesn't work because we're selling tickets. Tickets will not help us do what we need to do. This works because we have sponsors. Sponsors make it so we can bring people for free and build that relationship between the artists and the venue and the promoters and the audience. But it costs money to do that. I could have the greatest music in the world. You could have the greatest music in the world. But if you can't sell 10,000 tickets, then 10,000 people won't see it. But if you can get put on a big show, or if you can find a big sponsor that has a draw already, or that's willing to invest in what you're doing, or invest in the scene, or invest in the idea, or invest in like something like Upstream, which was like, it was really close to what I'm talking about, where people are coming to this place for other reasons, but they get to see the artist when they're there and build a relationship with the artist. There's just no way to survive. And I don't know, the music business is changing and things are changing, and the way that money is exchanged and handled is changing. So I'm not a pro or an expert, but I know that as someone who's been doing music full time since I was 19 years old. That's the last time I had a full-time job. I was 19 years old. So I've had to survive and figure it out all this time.
Can you tell the audience how old
you
are?
I'm 32. So that's 13 years.
Damn.
Of, jeez, that just hit me too. Of figuring it out and playing shows for $150, playing shows for $500, playing shows for $1,000, and then going back to $400, then $200, like playing free shows just to sell merch. Like, people don't realize that this is supposed to feed my family, and I can only do, if I'm doing a show in Seattle, they don't want me to do another show in Tacoma for 30 more days. You're paying me $600. So I'm making $600 a month off of concerts. Like, what? So it's just, there's somebody's going to figure it out. I don't know who it is, but somebody's going to see this interview. They're going to be looking at this camera and they're going to say, wow, we have money. We have relationships. We have spaces. We need people. We need a draw. Let's connect the dots. Another important part is finding this is where a lot of it goes wrong, is that the people with the money, they find somebody they know. Like, oh, this person knows an artist. Bring some of your rapper friends in. And then they put together a video and some people crump in the video and they're like, this is it. And it's not good. It's usually not good. You got to find the people that know the talent. You got to find the people that really know who's good and know what's what and knows what's next. And they're not going to be the people that you would expect them to be. It's not going to be some corporate dude. It's not going to be a fancy person. It's going to be somebody that's in a rundown studio. It's going to be somebody that's in South End of Seattle in a community center where they let kids come in and rap for free. It's going to be somebody that runs a venue that's barely staying afloat. It's going to be someone like you who's interviewing artists day in, day out, listening to music all the time. It's going to be someone like Nudie, the guy who brought me up and taught me from Tacoma. He has a studio called Platinum Rain, where artists from all over the city come in and record and spend whatever they can or pay whatever they can or find ways to earn studio time. That's how I became who I was. I was in there recording as an engineer to earn studio time. There's places like that where you're going to find the people that are going to make it, because people that get the handouts and that everything is done for them, they're usually not going to have the willpower or the drive to go through all the stuff you got to go through and jump through all the hoops. But it's those people that are showing up, that are catching the bus 2 hours to go to the studio for 2 hours and then catching the bus 2 hours back, not sure how they're going to eat. Like, those are the people that are going to make it. And so those are the people that need to get the money. If someone can connect those dots and put that stuff in the right hands, we will have what we see other people having. But until that happens, it's not, because people don't know that we're really good. I saw a list. It was like a graphic on, I think, Baller Alert, somewhere on Instagram. And it said, like, these are the, which of these are the top hip hop cities or hip hop states? And it was like the whole country, but the only places that were highlighted was like California, Florida, New York, Georgia, and like
These
Michigan. Yeah. But the whole north, like everything outside of California was just blacked out. And I was like, this hurts, because I know really talented people in Portland. I know really talented people in Seattle. I know really talented people in Tacoma. And I forget myself because I don't see it that often. But when I think of Sean Brooks, when I think of Louis, when I think of
Louis, huh?
Gifted, when I think of Gifted Gab, like, don't get me started on Gifted Gab, because I still stand. I remember I first had met her, and I was like nervous. I was so nervous because I was such a big fan of, because of how talented she was and how she carries herself and how she moves. And I know these people are up here, and I know they could go toe to toe with some of the other people that I work with in other places, but nobody knows. Like, I travel a lot. I've been to every state, and I've seen a lot of different scenes, and I've seen a lot of people that get a lot of props and have people propping them up that are not really all that people say they are. And I'm like,
so you can't blame the artist for like leaving then.
No, I don't know. I used to be like, oh, you didn't stick around. But now I'm like, wait a second. If you can go somewhere else and thrive and make your music and get support, like, you should go. And because it's one thing if we're trying up here and if there's a scene up here and people are investing in people and taking a shot, but it's another one, they don't really care about us.
But is this going to be a cycle, or is it already a cycle, or is it going to become a cycle? Like how you're saying, like the vitamin D's and Sir Mix-a-Lots, that people don't like appreciate them. So if there's artists right now, like my age, who aren't appreciating them, if these artists continue what they're doing and get stuck in the circle jerk, is it going to be a thing where in the next 10, 15 years, they're going to be those vitamin D's and Sir Mix-a-Lots? Or
I'm not expecting the artists. I'm not expecting the younger artists to support the older artists. I'm saying that the people that have the money need to support the foundations and the pillars of the community.
So it's on the fans.
The fans are a byproduct. It's on the industry that doesn't exist. If we're in another place where there's actually labels and there's actually companies that know music and that invest in music, people can survive off of what they're making from the companies. But up here, there's no. And again, this is me. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I have some experience in publishing and labels and stuff just from my own experience.
We're feeling guys. We're just talking about how we feel.
It's how I feel. I feel like if the people that I feel like if someone, if it was me, if I had, which my plan is to make at least 45 billion at some point.
There we go.
So if I fast forward to the future, got my money and came back here, I would have built a studio called Vitamin D Studios, and I would have furnished it. I would have put everything in there that he wants to be in there and figured out everything he needs, because he's already someone that teaches people and invests in people and works with people and helps people and supports people. So if I know that he's doing that, and I know he's such a pillar in this community, I want to make sure that he's strong and he doesn't have to stress about surviving. I can't speak to his state. He might be doing perfectly fine right now. I don't want to say that, but just like I know people that are legends, and they are like every day is just like making rent. And so I got to put my time and energy into making rent instead of actually making magic and making good stuff. I got to make this beat for this whack rapper that only has money because he's doing stuff that is tearing down his community. And he wants to be a rapper because it looks cool. He's not really passionate about it. Not saying that, I mean, I know a lot of people's options are limited. So some people are living that life because that's the choice they have, but they're passionate about their craft. There's people that are not passionate about their craft, and they have the money to pay for these beats in the studio time. So they're taking up all the space. Like the people in that lane that aren't really getting off at the exit. There's a lot of people like that when it comes to music that are taking up all these amazing producers' times, all these amazing engineers' time. And if they were like good and could just relax and not stress and just rest, I feel like they could do what we need them to do. But I feel like there's a lot of people pulling on them and clawing at them and demanding that they lay down their lives for the next generation,
right,
for nothing in return, because they've seen all the different people come and go. They've seen people get on and leave them behind, act like nothing happened. So I think that if they didn't have to worry about that, and they could just be like, I'm gonna be who I am. I'm gonna teach what I know. Like it's easier to teach people what you know. It's easier to share your food on a full stomach. That's a better way of putting it. If I know my groceries are limited, and I don't know where the next check is coming from to refill that fridge, when people come by starving, it's going to be harder to give them as much. I'll still feed them when I can, but if my cabinets are overflowing, it's so much easier to like give and give. And these are people who give even when their cabinets are empty. I came from that era, that generation of we don't have anything, and we're going to split that nothing up amongst each other and imagine what it's going to be like, and we're gonna feed ourselves and eat off of hope and eat off of possibilities. That Nicki record came. I got fired from my job. My daughter's it's not a surprise anymore. My daughter's mom called me and told me that she was pregnant. It was just my girlfriend at the time. So I have no job. My car just gotten broken into, so my speaker system was gone. It was just like running on. It was just a hole in the front of my car, and air was coming in while I drove. So my car's broke down, no job, no money, staying with my parents. Broke down computer, and no really like options. Nobody could see my talent. Nobody was like, I'm gonna sign this kid because he has potential. That industry was gone. The era of A&Rs coming to talent shows and signing kids because of the next big thing is over. So I didn't have a shot, and I was fortunate to meet someone who had a relationship with someone in LA, and they heard a record that I wrote and they liked it. If that wouldn't have happened, I don't know where I would be right now. So like I had support. I had a lifeline that kept me afloat, and that I could I get a royalty check here and there, I guess publishing here and there. And even for me, I'm not like balling out of control by any means. It's still about survival. But I come from that era of like having nothing and figuring it out and trying to grind it out. And I've seen the toll that it takes on you, on your heart, on your mind, on your family, on your friends, on your everything, on your dreams, on your perspective, because you need to make it and you have to make it, but you have no control over it and nobody's there to help. And that's a really like dark place to be. So for me, I don't want to have gone through that for nothing. I told you 13 years.
Yeah.
And if we had time, I would tell my full story, but I don't want to have nobody crying and depressed. I want to inspire people and uplift people. So for what I've been through and what I've lost, for music, I don't want anyone else going through that. I feel like I always believe that the struggle should evolve. So the generation that comes after me should not be going through the same things I was going through. And if I'm not fighting with everything I have to stop that from happening, I'm not doing my job. I have the experience, I have the cuts and the scars and the bruises to let me know how serious this is, and I know what it feels like, and I don't want to see someone else go through that. So when I'm on Twitter yelling and screaming about like people like really making better music and being the best that you can be, and like supporting people and supporting yourself and taking care of yourself, I'm saying that because I didn't do that stuff. I didn't know that stuff, and nobody told me that stuff. And I honestly believe that like we have a lot of really, 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 really talented people. And even for the ones that's the cool part about it is when I started off, I was not good. I mean, I was not a prodigy. I didn't just come out singing and writing and producing and making these amazing. I was like, a lot of people come into the business or come into music and they're like good and they just got to get better. Some people are really good and it's just like smooth sailing. Some people are like born geniuses and it's just like her. She's been an amazing singer and musician since she was like 8 years old. That was not my story. I loved it when I was 8 years old, and I played and I sang and I wrote, but I wasn't good. So I came into the industry like, where let me see, let's say like here's where you want to be. I came in at like this level.
So for the fans listening,
I don't know if you can. I'm sorry, my hands are too low. Yeah. So this is about like average. Like, okay, if you're gonna make it, you got to start here and work your way up to the top tiers. I was like off screen. Like I was here trying to do 5 different things and trying to be the best at so many different things that so I could never really keep up. So it took me, I had to learn and develop myself in a lot of ways and figure things out, and mess up and fail publicly a lot in order to like learn the stuff that I know now. So, and that's important because yes, we have a lot of talented people and we have some people that may not quite have it, but that's what I'm here for. That's my specialty, is the people that don't have the skill, but they want to learn and they're going to show up. I would spend 3 years of my time with someone that shows up and that wants to learn. I'd rather spend that than a year of someone who's super talented but isn't serious about it. And I've done that before. I've worked with every single level of artists, from people that I know someone right now that if they would show up to a studio session, their life would change, because I would call this person and say, hey, listen to them, but they won't show up. So I want the people that will show up. That's what I'm here for. That's why I'm still in Washington State, because I'm sticking around for the people that show up, for the people that hit me up, for the people that are consistent, for the people that really have the drive, and the people that take it seriously.
So what do you have in place right now to help certain artists? Is it studio time, or what are you doing? So
right now we just do, I can't, it's supposed to be a secret group. It's like a
Illuminati?
No, it's called Artists Anonymous. And we all,
that's great.
Yeah, and we all do like meetups. We have like an Instagram group. And Instagram only lets you have 31 people in a room, so that's our limit, is 31 people. And we just all like give feedback and support and advice, and I'll have different people come on Zoom. Like my friend Mac that he's one of the people, he works with Rolling Loud. He's like one of the original actually people from that company, and does a lot of their booking and stuff. And I had him come on and do a Zoom and just give advice and listen to music and talk about. So it's like people that can change people's lives. But I'm protective of them, because a lot of people see the opportunity. They're like, oh, I want to meet this person so I can meet them. But they don't really know what to do with it. And they don't know that this is a relationship, and it's your job to put yourself in position to be ready to work with these people. So I try to make it so that it's people that understand that and people that respect that. I have a lot of dope friends that I'll bring in and that are in the group. And
wait, so how do people get part of Artist Anonymous? Are
When
you reaching out to them? Or you're just plucking them, or how's it?
it's both. It's if I go to open mic and I see somebody that's dope. If I'm on Instagram,
Like retro and you dub open mic, or like what type of open mic?
yeah, anywhere. If somebody follows me on Instagram and they have a music link, I will listen to their music. Every person that follows me, I always go and listen to their music. If it's easy to find, I'll scroll back a few spots to see if they have anything on there. But like I listen to everything, and for me, if this is funny because I'm always asking other people this stuff. I'm used to doing the interview, so it's cool to be on this side of it. But if someone was trying to get my attention, all you have to do, if you follow me and you like have your music available and you hit me up and you're patient, I will probably listen to your music. And if you've sent a message and I've found your music, I'm gonna respond. I'm gonna at least especially if I like it, I'm gonna respond. Right now, we don't have any more slots, but there's a few people that are just kind of in there that are in there just to be in there, but they're not really active. So I would kick somebody out if there's someone that was serious about it. I would take somebody out or start a second group.
Yeah.
But we do right now. We've been kind of on a hiatus. We did one meeting last Wednesday, but we usually do meetings every Wednesday, like on Zoom. And it's mainly about just doing like check-ins to make sure that they're okay and that they're like. If they have any, like we just talk about like what they're dealing with, what we're struggling with, almost like Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
But just for artists. So if you're...
And are they from all around the PNW, or is it just Tacoma, just Seattle? Like...
They're actually, I would say maybe, there's probably 15 people from, 15 or 20 people from up here. And then...
Are they artists like I would know, or are they just like random, like really up and coming, like 18-year-old people? Like what are the, if people are listening to this and want to, like, what is their competition level?
Okay, so there is one there. I'm scrolling through the group. There's one person in here, and this is funny because they're gonna be like, "Who is this person?" There's one person in here that I know, and I hope she hears me. I know that if she got in the studio with the right people or just showed up consistently, and took the lead in her life and in things that she wants to do, she is a star right now. And I don't say that about people. She would, like, I know, like for me, I know my path and I know where I want to go and what I want to do. And I know the pace that I'm taking and the route that I'm taking. I would put that person before me and I would stop what I'm doing because it would take a few months for them to take off because they have it. They're super talented. They have like the personality, the charisma, but it's just like life stuff that's holding them back and that's wearing them down. And it's the survival thing where we can't really invest in our art or invest in ourselves because we're trying to take care of our home life, our kids, that kind of stuff. But it's a person that I don't, just as a rapper or a lyricist, I don't know if anybody.
But like, are these artists part of the music scene? Like, are they people that are performing at concerts and like have streams? Or
this person is and isn't. That's the point of it, is like this person could be, and I've put her on like a couple of my shows. And I think she's doing her own shows and stuff now, but it's not like they're not known like really well in Seattle. Then there's people, I'm trying to, because there's people from Chicago. There's a girl from Atlanta that's really talented. There's a girl from the UK that's in there. There's an A&R from a label I really like. Mac is in there. A few other people are in there. My manager's in there. And then like a couple of my friends are in there. But there's not.
Do you have a vision for this to be like bigger, like an actual like place people can walk into? Or like what is your vision? If you had like unlimited money, or if you have money that you're like trying to invest, or like what is your vision for this?
So there's different variants of this. There's another thing we have called Camp, which we started it a few years ago. It was a really super, super talented, super awesome, amazing, legendary person. She goes by the name of DJ Shay Rose. She actually is one of the people that helped me start it. And that was more of an in-person meetup where we'd like every Sunday and Wednesday people would come to the studio that I used to work at. Yeah, yep. And they'd come to the studio and we'd all just rehearse together or go in the studio and play records. And like if I had an opportunity, for me, what my goal was to bring like songwriting opportunities to them and help them get placements, because I was like, if I can connect these dots and get these people publishing deals, they can get paid to make music, and they can finally like what happened for me, where they can do music full time and like be in the studio, get their little $3,000 a month. And like, that's not bad to like make music. And then the publishing or the placements you get on top of that, you're getting more income and more money. To me, that was like, that's a perfect way to get people into the studio to make music for themselves and to learn and develop and learn studio etiquette, learn how to record themselves, learn how to engineer themselves, learn how to produce records. But it was just so hard to get real opportunities that like were serious, and to get the people to take it seriously, because it never happened to them before. They'd never seen it before.
But is there like artists spread out throughout the PNW that could actually change people's lives, or no? Because from my experience, a lot of people who I feel like had some sort of power,
right,
once I've gotten to meet them, I'm just like, these girlies are normal people who have not been in any rooms that I thought they've been in, you know?
Yes, you're right. I'm trying to figure out the question. You're saying, are there older artists that people are just not utilizing, that actually, versus just having wisdom, like actually have? You mean in the group, or you
just in Pacific Northwest? Like, is there things that people are just not looking at? Like, if they took a step back and people actually dove into like what they could do to help their music career, are there things in place they can dig for that can help you out, or are you just kind of fucked and you do have to leave?
No, yeah, there's ways to make it up here. It's not. I don't blame.
Like, can you lift up a rock and be like, oh shit, this is whoever, and they actually have been just waiting. They're just sitting in their fucking.
There are some of those. There are some people like that up here. I don't know why they're. I mean, there are people that are up here that are trying, and there's. I don't want to make it seem like nobody in Seattle is making it, and nobody's. There's people that are really making it happen, but a lot of them are overwhelmed because they're the only people that know how to make it happen. So they can only take on so many artists to manage, or only so many artists for their labels. What I would say the artists need to do that are up here is, it really boils down to one word: is consistency. There's a really cool video that I posted in our little AA group, and it was talking about the top, like the best to worst, 9 ways of marketing or forms of marketing ranked from worst to best, or something like that. And the worst one was like spamming Instagram comments or something like that. The top one was marketing through content, which means like just dropping stuff consistently. Everything you do is an ad. So before, when it was like you got to be kind of mysterious, or you have to be very careful about what you put out on the internet, because your brand and this and this, you have to have this certain aesthetic, and your Instagram has to be all perfect and matching. That time sneakily kind of slipped away. Now it's just about being in people's faces every single day. If you want a perfect example of how there's plenty of them, but one of them is an account, and he's actually from Tacoma. He's a comedian, and he goes by the name of Kev on Stage. Kev on Stage has, to me, like, he motivated me in a lot of ways, because he has an amazing presence. He has a lot of followers, but he has a community. It's not just like, oh, he drops a new comedy special and people like leave comments. Everything he posts, there's a full thread under his every single post. I'll go on his post. I kid you not. I will go on his post, and he'll post something about like today he posted like, were you allowed to say yes, ma'am, or were you allowed to say yes or no to your parents when they called you? And I was like, no, I had to say either yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am, and I couldn't say what. Under that comment, I get 1,200 likes on just that little comment, that sentence, and then like 150 comments underneath that from his followers. And I'm like, dang, I can't get this on mine, and I have a good amount, and I'm verified. Like, you would think that but it's just he's consistent. He's built a rapport with so many people that they all feel connected, and they all take what he says seriously. And he's consistent. He's passionate about what he does, and it's heartfelt. And I think that a lot of people can learn from that. And I think there's other people that do it too. He's not the only one, but there's other people that do it too. But I think if you figure out what your cause is, like what you believe in, what you're passionate about, like find one thing that's like your thing, and then you find a way to like and I'm tired of the word content, but if you find a way to make consistent content, whether it's just a reel every day, or if it's a picture and it's a story behind the picture, or if it's a journal entry, or if it's something that maybe is helpful for you, like you work out every morning, so you take a picture of the sidewalk when you leave and you say something inspirational, like something just getting in people's faces every day, that will start to grow and people will start to trust you. If your favorite store, is there a store like in Seattle that you like a clothing store that you like, or a restaurant that you like, or?
Oh yeah, I have my favorite restaurant right now. It's called Hiroshi's. It's in Green Lake.
Okay.
It's a poke restaurant, and
nice.
I love poke. So, anyone that comes to the studio, I've been like, go to Hiroshi's.
What are their hours usually?
Oh shit, it's probably like 8 to 9 or something like that.
8 to 9. Okay, so let's say that was your favorite restaurant, and today Tuesday? So you went there tomorrow and they were closed. It would be like, dang, okay, but they're open again Thursday. All right, that's cool. Friday. Every day everything's normal. Then next week they're closed on Thursday. It's like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that. I was hungry, but all right. And you come back Friday, they're open. Then the next week they're closed 3 days out the week. Then the next week they're closed the whole week, and then 2 more weeks after that. And then the next week they open up for 1 day. But you don't know that because you're not there, because they weren't there. It wasn't open when you were hungry.
Right.
So then it's going to be hard to keep going back there because you don't know if they're going to be there.
Like, you're not a Kanye West. He can post Instagram, but he's already huge.
Yeah, so he's already built the relationship, and that's when it's that level. That's like a 3 Michelin star restaurant where I'm going to fly to another country to go eat there, and I'm going to figure out what time it's open so I can get what I need to get. And even then, he has enough back catalog for you to like to he has enough back catalog, and he's built that rapport and that trust with you. If that restaurant is your favorite restaurant, you've been going there since you were a little kid. How long has Kanye been out? Since 2003?
I'd say 1999.
Well, as a producer, yeah. So if that restaurant went back that far, then when they open, you're still gonna love them. You're still gonna go there. But if it's a newer restaurant and you don't know when they're gonna be there, it's hard to like really stand behind it or really like champion it or recommend it to other people because you don't know.
Yeah.
So my point is just to show up consistently and do what you can, even if it's like I'm taking a picture of a note on my phone, or like this is a beat that I like and I'm just showing a screen recording of 30 seconds of it. Like doing something every day just lets, when people show up, you're there. That's what matters. That's what helps to build that relationship. If you can't do anything else, that being the number one form of marketing right now, you can do that for free. Essentially, you're doing like this is above and beyond. I really love your setup and how you do this.
Oh, the studio. That's what you're talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So for people that can't do all this, they can still just go on Instagram Live. That doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
And make a reel and stop. I have a friend that works for Facebook.
Mark Zuckerberg.
He actually calls himself Dark Zuckerberg, which is funny. But he was telling me like use reels. Like I know it's annoying, just use reels. Use reels. Don't do anything else. Just make reels. And I'm tired of making reels, but I understand the significance of it now because.
But you've learned a new type of content. You've been making these producing videos.
Yeah,
that's dope.
I'm doing whatever I can. And I had to I have to edit it myself. I have to make the little singing videos myself. But I know it takes some time and it's frustrating, but it's something I do anyways. And I know that if I do this now and I'm consistent with this now and I go as far as I can, it'll help me get to the point where I can get help with those things. But if I'm waiting for someone to come help me, I'll be waiting years before somebody's like, hey, you make beats, don't you? I make videos. We should work together. And if they don't see me trying or like working, how would they even know? How will they know? So like me putting myself out there and trying it, there might be somebody that says, hey, you could do this a little bit better if you do that. And if you use this program, you can do this better. And they could help me with that stuff. But if they don't see me even failing at it, they won't know that I need help. If my car breaks down and I'm sitting in the car, hiding in the car seat in the dark, nobody's going to know that I need help. But if I get out and I'm pushing my car by myself, I'm a lot more likely to get some help pushing that car because they see me trying.
Yeah. So what are you doing to stay afloat like right now? Like, is it from songwriting or what?
Everything. Touring, songwriting, streaming.
Are you still on tour right now?
Technically, yes. I'm technically not here right now. No, I'm we pushed I think 5 of our dates to October.
Because of COVID or?
Yeah. So
Damn COVID.
yeah. So when we had before we announced, we had everything set up, and by the time it was time to announce it, I had one date in September where it was like way more dates in September. So I was bummed by that. But yeah. So I did the LA show that we kept, and then I have a festival date back in LA on the 18th, and then I may have a show on the 19th. I'm not sure.
So you could literally just forget about Seattle if you wanted to and just move to LA.
Yeah. Yes, I could, but yes, I could. The reason I'm here for one is because it's expensive everywhere you go. So if I'm going to struggle somewhere, if I'm going to grind somewhere, I'd rather do it here. But also I still have hope, and I still believe that like something can happen up here, and I don't trust anybody else with it. Like not that I don't think anyone else is capable, or that I don't believe that the producers up here like can help. I know it's a lot of work, and I know that I'm as an artist and as a producer and all the other things, the hats that I wear, I know that I can see things from a different perspective than a lot of people can. And so I'm not here to like, I don't think I'm the king of Washington, or I'm going to come save the Northwest, but I know that I have something to contribute. And as long as I can survive up here and make it make sense, I will. I'm not going to lie. When my brother left, like when I talk about pillars, it's my younger brother, Chris. He's like 7 pillars in one.
But what is he? I don't know, Chris. So what does Chris do?
I can't put it into words. I really can't, and I can't even do him justice. I can't do it justice. But I will say that he left to go to Yale, and he's 31. I don't think he has his B. I think they wanted him to go there. That's how. But it's not like, oh, it's just because it is because he's a phenomenal artist. But what he does in the community, what he does in Tacoma, all the people he fights for, all the people he supports, all the people that he loves, and people that love him, it's like, I was telling him, it's like you're like a spring, or like a well, and you leaving is like, there's a lot of people that were coming to you as a water source, and they're gonna have to find another one. But also,
NAST podcast.
Yeah, there you go. But he does and has done what I'm trying to do when I'm trying to help people and develop artists and all that kind of stuff. That's stuff that I learned from working with him, because he had a program. They have a program called Habitat in Tacoma. And they had a summer program where they would like have people come in and teach kids how to read or how to rap and make beats and stuff.
Like a residency or a totem star.
Sure. Yes. I don't know what.
You don't know those?
No.
You don't know either of those.
Mm-mm.
So Tacoma is just its own thing, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, the residency's Macklemore's program where
they never
and
talked to none of us.
And then Totem Star is in West Seattle, and it has like Thaddeus, Thaddeus Turner?
I know of Thaddeus Turner.
Yeah, like he runs that, like, or damn. Yeah. So you guys are, that's what I need to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to go to Tacoma, or does Tacoma need to come to Seattle? Like, should Tacoma make its, are they working on making their own music scene, or should they make their own music scene? Or are they trying
This is a good question.
Or are they trying to come to Seattle and be part of Seattle?
So I've been making music actively since 2009. I got signed in 2010. Did my first tour in 2013. Put out my first project 2011. I've put a project out 2011. Put one out 2013. Put one out 2014. No, not 14. Played the Tacoma Dome. Played main stage at Summer Jam in 2015. Went on tour, put another project out, I think 2 years later. Was on TV. Did another tour. Put out another 2 more projects. I've never been asked to do any major festivals in Seattle one time. Ever. I've been on the news. I've done interviews. I've done Cairo. I've done King 5. I played Tacoma Dome in front of 10,000 people. I played the White River Amphitheater in front of 20,000 people. I know I've seen every single regime of Cube 93 that you could imagine. I've never played Bummershoot. I've never played Capitol Hill. They don't I know a couple people from Tacoma that have played like Cap Hill, like that were managed by people from Seattle, but and I think maybe Sean Brooks did it. I'm not sure, but they don't. It's just there's no.
Don't say Seattle doesn't want Tacoma. I feel like that's what you're about to say.
No, it's not that. It's there's. I would say there's a person that did look out. There's a lot of people from. Let me say this. There's a lot of people from Seattle that have looked out and that have done things. I've done a lot of shows at like Crocodiles. I've played every venue in Seattle, but it's just like those bigger looks and those looks with like large amounts of people that can help you like connect with the fan base. We don't, and it's not that they hate us or we don't like them. It's just nobody knows who to talk to. I don't know who to talk to if I was interested. They don't know who to talk to if they're interested. So it's just a disconnect. I don't think it's like an intentional thing where like we hate him because he's from Tacoma. I think back in the day there was like rivalries between the two, or people didn't really see the need for Tacoma artists being out there and vice versa. But I think it's a communication thing, and I think it's just not knowing who is what, and not knowing that these people are making music. Like
there's so many disconnects I've noticed, honestly. But there's a lot that can be easily fixed that I keep telling people. But
yeah. It's having these conversations and knocking on these doors and being persistent, and for me I again, it was like, okay, if they're not asking me to play this concert, then I'm just going to get better. Because if they never come knock on my door, I know I'm working with this producer out here. I know this person's calling me to come out here. I know these people are putting me on tour. I know these people want to sign me. I know these people wanted. So like, if I was waiting for these people to come and give me this opportunity and just sitting in the studio in the dark, making sad songs because I wasn't getting what I wanted, then I would be stuck. So
yeah.
I don't hold it against anyone that I haven't played those venues. It's more of just like showing that we're in two different worlds, even though we're only 30 minutes apart.
Yeah.
A really amazing person. I won't put her on blast, but there was a really like prominent promoter from the Seattle scene.
Oh, one more thing though.
Yeah.
A lot of like just hip hop legends in general live
Yeah.
in Tacoma too. That I don't think people realize, which I think is really funny.
Tacoma is a very interesting place because like people, I think that like in Tacoma I tell people, being from Tacoma, and this is no shade to Seattle, but being from Tacoma is a lot like being black, where they're like, people have this idea and this perception of you and like who you are and what you're like.
But some of it's true though. Like people fucking get shot all the time in Tacoma, so no one wants to go down there.
Remember where the conversation we had before this started, and you were saying what things are like before. What just happened here a few hours ago before I got here?
Yeah. Shout out to that lady. I hope she's okay.
But what happened though?
Someone got shot in Green Lake.
Yeah. So there's this. I'm saying it's like the people.
By the way, I didn't mean to laugh that someone got. It's sad someone got shot, but let's. But anyways,
yeah, that's not good. I hope that whoever that is okay. And there's a perception, and I'm not saying like we're mad about this. What I'm saying is that people have this idea of what Tacoma is, and when I go down there, it smells weird. But it's like you're in a 1 mile radius from the freeway to like downtown, and you never go past like Pacific Avenue. So like people are terrified or scared to come to Tacoma, and it's like. It's just the same way people are like, they might see a black neighborhood and like, oh, we don't go there because we don't know what's gonna happen. The black people are not sitting there like, oh, please come visit us. If you just come here, you would see that we're nice people. They're like, please stay away. We don't have a problem with you. We're not like looking for you to come be here with us and validate us. It's more like we recognize our value, and you not seeing it tells us more about you than it does about us. So when people are like, I'm not coming to Tacoma, I'm not like, darn it. I'm more like, yeah, there was just a shooting here like an hour ago. And I just got robbed. My car just got stolen. So you probably should stay far, far away. And if you talk to people that are really from Tacoma, they don't want people coming to Tacoma because we see what's happening everywhere else. Everything is getting gentrified. People can't afford to live where they're at. And that's spilling over here. So we're not hurting for, in 2010, I couldn't I couldn't get into there was a party in Seattle. I couldn't get into this party. And then I think the next week I was in LA at a Grammy party with Drake and Nicki hanging out.
Damn.
So that's what it's like. It's like these people, if they don't see you or recognize you, it doesn't mean that you're not good or you don't have value. It just means that they haven't seen it yet. And I understand why. And I think if we go deep, I think there's a lot of like, because Tacoma is known as the hood, the urban, whatever word people like to use. I think there's some self-hate in there. And I think there's some that's been taught or trained, not just from Seattle people, from Tacoma too. There's a lot of people that did not like being from Tacoma because of what it was associated with. I'm from the heart of Tacoma. I'm from Hilltop. Oh. So I'm from where, like, when you're in Tacoma, where people tell you not to go in Tacoma. I went to school in University Place, and they used to look at me crazy because of where I was from. And I was like, it's an amazing place to be at, but you don't see it. Okay. But I'm proud to be from there. But there's people that were from there that would hide that and that wanted to be from somewhere else. Because we're taught that this isn't as valuable because it's ghetto. And when somebody calls something ghetto, for me, that's a red flag, because I'm like, why, and what makes you think that, and what makes this a good thing or a bad thing? Ghetto, you got a ghetto name. What makes it a ghetto name, and what is wrong with this name? Is it because it's a black name that makes it bad? Why is it?
Well, DeBrickashaw would be a little.
But who says who? Because think about it. How many names sound unique that are just like names?
Right. Like white people have like the craziest. They'll name their kid like Lavender or some. And
it's not ghetto. So it's not ghetto because if a black person was named Lavender, that would be ghetto. Mm-hmm. Or considered ghetto, right? So it's like, why? What makes this ghetto is what makes it, and if it's ghetto, what makes it bad? Like there's a lot of stuff that we have to like work through, and I see it happening. I see that I don't even think about a rivalry between Seattle and Tacoma anymore, because I see so many dope people from Seattle and Tacoma. I see a lot of dope people from Tacoma in Seattle. I just saw Liv out there doing a show with Perry Porter in Tacoma.
Yeah,
like that's and she was like, I got to come out here more often, because it's a nice place if you get there, but you just gotta. It's like I would love no, I wouldn't. I'm not gonna do a tour of Tacoma. But the people that dare to venture out there, I would love for them to go and just drive.
What about this? Do you think Tacoma artists need to come to Seattle, like, as like advice, or like, do you think they should be coming to Seattle to be on these shows?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think so. I think that's important. I think that Seattle people need to come to Tacoma shows and perform. I think Tacoma people need to come to Seattle to get familiar with that audience, the audience, and to like get used to working like
with white people.
Well, you're gonna have to do that everywhere in Washington, but to like working in those venues, the Numos, and is Numos still open?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Barboza.
Okay, so playing in venues like that and getting to know those sound people and working with that level of production, especially like Crocodile, their stage, their lights, like
they just moved location.
Crocodile moved location.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I don't know. I have no idea. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart is broken. Okay, I'm gonna grieve that on the way back. That's probably my favorite. I have the most memories at that venue. Yeah. Crocodile and Numos are like the two. I've done more shows there than I've done anywhere in Washington.
Damn.
And that sucks. But they were the people like the Croc were the ones that, when I was gonna say there's someone that looked out for me, Melly and her whole team, they looked out in a lot of ways when people were, and she acknowledged it, like we've known about you guys, but we haven't really done what we could to help. And she really looked out and really opened a lot of doors and put me on a bunch of shows. She was working with Daryl Cruz, and then Ebeth, or Chapters alumni from Portland, they teamed up. They had me opening up. They put me on a bunch of sold out shows between here and Portland, and it was just like, okay, this is all I needed. And that was a huge catalyst for me going further and doing other stuff in my career.
So who are like 5 Tacoma artists?
5 Tacoma artists
that you recommend people should check out, and don't say like someone that's huge already. You know.
Well, who? I mean, it depends on what you.
Oh, you know who I found out that I think is dope. I hope he's not. I think he's dope. Yeah. Do you know who Bars is?
J Bars?
It's like BARZ and then the exclamation point. He's like this white guy.
Yeah, that's J Bars.
His name's J Bars?
His name is Bars now. Yeah, that's a person that's been around since I'm
about to have that guy on the podcast. He's dope.
He's been one. That's another person that's like been around forever. That like there's these people that are characters and have full careers and could handle a huge fan base, but it's just the audience isn't there. Like he's somebody that he's just like, to me, he seems like somebody that you would see on tour with
Tech Nine.
yeah, with a tech, yeah, like, and it just like on the roster, and like he should have millions of plays and millions of streams and millions of fans. Not saying that I don't know what his numbers are like, but like there's a lot of people that are ready for that.
Oh, one more thing. You know what's dope? What is it? I think it's King Crooked. King Crooked works with a lot of like Tacoma artists.
Wow, I didn't know.
He was on Black Souls. He was on Black Souls project, and Black Souls was on his project with Joel
Ortiz.
George,
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
King Crooked's. I don't know how King Crooked's tapping, but King Crooked's dope.
Yeah. So Tacoma people, it would be Sean Brooks, Black Soul, obviously Louis.
Hey, you can't say those because I've already worked with. So I want to know new people,
Okay.
plus also people
Yeah.
to the podcast who may have heard of it. So
Okay.
can't say Louis.
Okay.
Can't say any of MFK.
Okay. So
Can't
then,
say Black Soul.
Okay. Sean Brooks, Calypso. I want to go on my phone because I have all my people up there. A producer I'm working with, that's one of my favorite people. His name is Martell, but he goes by, his name's Tyler, but he goes by Mr. Martell. Are we doing rap or singing?
That's another thing. I'm trying to connect all these genres, so it doesn't have to be just rap.
Okay.
Like I'm trying to get into the comedian space too soon.
Oh yeah, Nate Jackson and Kev on Stage are two of the biggest ones I know. And Kevin Porter, there's a lot of comedians out there that are really good.
For sure.
But singers, Wax, the producer, is a really dope singer. Can I get my phone out, please? Because
yeah, for sure.
I can read you off.
Oh.
I can't get my phone.
Damn
it's
it.
in my coat.
Damn, I guess you don't know these Tacoma.
No, I do, but I'm. There's one I know, but I know their Instagram name, and I don't want to mess their Instagram name up. Yeah, there's so many. Jeez.
That's a good thing then.
Yeah, that's a good problem. And you're putting me on the spot, and there's like 50 I want to name at the same time, and I can't get them all. It's like a bottleneck. Who else?
I'll let you think about it.
Yeah, just in this clip, cut this and make it seem like I took 20 seconds.
There we go.
Because my brain is spacing right now.
So let's tell.
Wait, who have I named so far?
You said
Sean Brooks,
Calypso,
Mr. Martell's, aka Tyler, Wax the producer.
One more.
I would say Silent, but he's not up here anymore. He moved.
Damn it.
I would say Janaea, but I don't know if she's from Tacoma or Seattle because she's up here, but she stays in Seattle. Soteria moved to LA. A lot of people moved. Nyoke, I don't know if Nyoka's doing music anymore.
Oh,
she's really dope. I just did a show with a guy named Orange that was really dope at Alma Mater. Planet B is really dope. That's a group of 3 different people. They're all super talented. Rigel is one of my favorite singers.
Isn't South from Tacoma?
Who?
South.
I don't know South.
They're probably too young for you.
How old are they? Are they 13?
I'm pretty sure they're pretty young. Like I don't know how old they are, but they're on the Seattle Sessions. But I'm pretty sure they're from
Okay.
Tacoma. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I know.
No worries. There's so many. That's good though. That's a good problem to have. That means I should be doing more.
James on the boards, but I don't know how to spell his Instagram name because it's like a Z at the end. Yeah, there's a lot, but it's the issue we have. Oh my gosh, Ugly Frank, I'll fight you. I've been wanting to talk about him this whole time because he's another one of those people. Between him and Sean, when I show people,
I've heard of him. I haven't listened to his music, but I've definitely heard of him. Yeah.
Have you heard of Sean Brooks?
Maybe, I don't know.
I wish I could play the music and get because
we could afterwards. We got the TV and everything.
Okay, because it's not like a oh man, we just got, there's a lot of people up here where it's like, okay, let me get in the studio with them for like a year and they'll be ready. These are people where it's like they have been ready, and it's just like they've done the work and they've put in the time and they did what it took to get that moment, but they didn't get the support that they should have gotten in that moment when everybody was watching. And so now they have to go back and do it again. And not that they can't, they can always do it again.
But is there a difference between artists not having the support, and then there's tons of artists also who like squander that, whether it's focusing on the wrong things while they have that spotlight on them?
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that don't do the work, and I can usually tell those ones. But there's ones where it's like, okay, what happened? Like where they did it and they did the thing and they got the look, but they didn't get all the things that come with it. And usually for me, in my opinion, what usually you put out the project, you put out the record, you have the single, you have the cosign, you need to tour. And then when you tour, you get back, you make another project, you get another single, you go out there and tour. So at some point, like, you got to get an investor, you got to get funding, because if you don't have the money, that's all it is. It's the conversation. It's money to pay for the marketing that you need, like to really get a look and get a fair shot. It's money. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So how do artists make money if they're like a couple years in? Like, is it easy to become like a songwriter for people? Like how can an artist start making even like $1,800 a month off their music? There's got to be ways outside of just streams.
Yeah. So, okay, we have to pretend it's not the pandemic, because this era right now it's. But if you could, because a lot of it is shows. So I would try my best to map it out quickly. Let's say your name is Little Bebo. That's your rap name. And you're going to start, you're going to start making music. So you, as Little Bebo, you don't have a team, you don't have a producer, you don't have a manager, you don't have any friends, you have nothing. But you have this burning desire in your heart to make music, and you know that you could be the best rapper ever. And you just came up with this really cool name. So all you got to do is like get in front of some people and it'll take off. So what you're going to do as Little Bebo, you're going to go on either SoundCloud or YouTube. You're going to look up free beats. You're going to find a beat that you like. You're going to make a song to it. Once you download that beat, if you rip it off YouTube or you get it for free from whoever made it, you're going to take that beat and email it to yourself, or you're going to put it on a thumb drive. You're going to find the next open mic that you can find. And there's a million of them up here, because this is the capital of open mics. So you're going to go to open mic, you sign up, you perform your song. As you perform your song, after you perform your song, you're going to say, thank you so much. Thank you all for your support. I thank you for rocking with me. This is my first show. I appreciate you. I can't wait to come back. If you liked what you heard, please, after the show, come say hello, come say what's up, come take a picture with me. Thank you. After the show, you go over, maybe 3 or 4 people come over and say, great job, you did good. Or maybe it's 3 or 4 people that are kind of unique, or maybe they're new artists that aren't very good and you weren't very good, but they thought you're good because they're not good too. But whoever it is, they're going to come over and talk to you, and you take their picture, or you take a picture with them and say hello. And then you say, yo, let me get your email address so I can send you this photo, or let me get your number so I can send you this photo. And you get their email is usually less intrusive, but you get their email address, and then you write those emails down. And then next time you go back home to, or your studio, or wherever you're at, your lab, you work on more songs, and you get ready for the next open mic. Before you go to that next open mic, you email those people and tell them, hey, I'm going to be back. Hope you all can come. And you go to the open mic. Maybe you do two songs this time. But you're going to do the same thing, where after the show, you're going to get those names. You get those names. Open mic after open mic, you start finding out about more open mics. Eventually, as you invite more and more people, that list of names is going to grow. When you get to around 20, 25, that's when you're starting to do something. This is when you say, okay, now I'm ready to go do a concert somewhere. So you go to whatever venue you like. Let's say Crocodile was still in the same place and they're doing the same stuff, and you're from Seattle. So you go to raincity.com, because those are the promoters at the Crocodile, and you look at their calendar and you say, okay, my music kind of sounds like, who's like a local band that would come through here that you like?
I just had on Pretty Awkward. Let's just say Pretty Awkward.
Okay, so let's say Pretty Awkward. Are they from up here, or from where are they from?
Yeah, they're from Seattle.
Okay, so let's say they're going to do a show at the Croc. They're going to headline, and your music sounds close to their music. So you tell Rain City, hey, what's up? My name is Lil Bebo. I'm from up here, and this and that. I've been doing open mics and building up my music. I'm bringing about 10 to 15 people out every time I do an open mic. I would love to open up for an artist if you need that. I'll sweep floors and do whatever I have to do to get on this spot. This means a lot to me. Let me know. And then eventually somebody's going to hit you back. After you, even if they don't, you keep trying and keep working, and somebody's going to hit you back. And you're going to get the opening slot. When you get that first show, and what's the awkward? What's it?
Pretty awkward.
Pretty awkward. They do their show. Show sold out. You do your 4 songs now that you've built up. After your 4 songs, hey everyone, my name is Lil Bebo. After the show, I'm doing a meet and greet. Come say hello. Come take a picture. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. After the show, you do that meet and greet. That list is going to start to grow. As that list grows, that's you, and the people that you can bring to shows increases. That's your draw. And also, a really important thing is when you do that first show, you get video of it, whether it's you or you have the sound person or somebody that works there or your friend or your sibling. Get video of that show and record all the performances you can record, because that's going to end up being helpful later on. So you do that show, your numbers start to grow, you start to pull more people out. Now you're getting put on more shows. Now you're bringing 50 people out to a show. Now they're going to start paying you for that. So as you start to get paid for it, you start to save up that money so you can hire videographers to get professional videos, professional pictures, all that good stuff. Your team is going to start to grow. I'm not going to take, because this would take an hour to go through the full steps, but I will say that if you do that consistently and build up your draw, focus on your draw and focus on posting consistently on your socials, you will start to make money either from partnerships that you do from online, from your following growing, or from show money from, because what you're going to do with that, as you save up those $150s, $200, $300, you're going to buy some merch. And that's when stuff starts to kick in. So let's say you hit up, normally I would give out this number, but I don't want to just do that publicly because I don't want to get him in trouble. But have a merch guy that you hit up and you tell them, hey, I need 50 shirts. That 50 shirts screen print with screen prints plus a screen is going to cost you around between like $400 and $430. Which will be around like, I don't know, like $6 or $7 a shirt. If you're selling those shirts for $20, $25, you're going to make that money back easily. You start flipping that money. And I'm going to get some hoodies. Okay. I'm going to flip that and I'm going to get some hats. Those hoodies are selling for $50. Those hats are selling for $30. I did a show, and this is the route that I took. This is why I give this example. I did a show opening up for They at the Crocodile. They did a sold out show, and I think they sold 200 hoodies for $50 a piece.
Jeez. And people bought them? Wow.
Because it's 50 different people. Or it's 200 different people, and I think they sold out the show. I think the capacity is 300. But if 200 people bought hoodies for $50, that's $10,000.
Jesus.
So the merch, when you get to the merch side of things, that's where it's like, okay, I got money in the bank, so I can like hire a band, I can pay my people, I can get an EPK made, so I can get more shows and get put on more festivals. That EPK is the electronic press kit.
Press release.
That's the compilation of all of the shows you've done, any media that you've gotten, and the pictures you do, the numbers you do, all that stuff put into one. So when you want to get on a bummer shoot or upstream, you send that to the people that are in charge of that, and they'll see what you can do. When you want to get on these out-of-state shows or these showcases or things like, well, not out-of-state showcases, no, shows out of state or TV shows, that's what you're sending to them to show them what you can do. But I would say merch streams is actually a sneaky way of making money too, if you can stream well, but that's a tricky game, because it's hard to know. It's hard to playlist stuff, and that's a lot of time that we'd have to spend explaining that too. But that's another way of doing it. A really good tip if you want to stream better, if you want to get on playlists, submit your music to the DSP that you're working with, like at least 21 days in advance, or the distributor you're working with 21 days in advance. And you'll have a lot better chances of getting on a playlist. But yeah, streaming is another way of making money. Doing lessons, if you sing, giving singing lessons. We already talked about merch, sponsorships. Like if you're building up your audience, you're building up your draw, you can justify getting people paying you to wear their stuff or giving you free product. Publishing is the one that I usually recommend to people, but that's more of a long-term thing, because even if you place a record, sorry, I keep hitting this microphone. If I write a song for Beyonce and it comes out tomorrow, it's going to be at least a year or 2 years before I even see a real check from that. So
Why is that?
Because you get paid the cycle that it works in. So, for example, with the Nicki song, I wrote that in April 2010, or recorded in April 2010. I sent it to them. The album came out in, I think, November or October. November. It came out pink because it was Black Friday. The single didn't come out for a year.
Damn.
So the single comes out a year later. That means I'm not really making real money off of that. And then you get paid for what you did the year before. So it was another year before I got royalties from that song. So it was 2 years. It was 2 years of like, I'm a multi-platinum selling. I had placed, I think, 2 other songs, and it stepped away from music. I was focusing on my career stuff at that point before I even got a real check from them. The real check was nice when I got it, but it was the equivalent of getting like your yearly, like if you worked at like Foot Locker and you got all of your years, like all the money you get in that year, if you got it within like 2 months, that's what it was like. So we thought like, oh, we made it, we're blowing out of control. And the next check, yeah, there's even more. The next check was like, oh, this one's a little bit smaller. The next check was like, oh, this is way smaller. And the next check was like, wait, what happened? I thought we were millionaires. So you got to stack those placements on top of each other if you really want to make it off of that. But yeah, there's I honestly think that the way that things should be going, if we want it to work, and if we want a renaissance, or if we want Seattle's like art and music scene to be taken seriously, is the people that have the money and that know how to make the money have to connect with the artists. Because we're doing whatever we can, and my methods of going to open mics can work, but like, why do that when we have the most billionaires
in one area?
Yeah, like,
even I didn't even realize Facebook's out here.
I didn't
South
either.
South Lake Union.
I had no idea. So like, there's no reason that Lil Bebo should be struggling the way Lil Bebo is if Lil Bebo is really ready to put in the work. And I think my dream would be to, I don't know how much time we have left too, but
however long you want.
My dream is to, because I come from where I come from, we focus on artist development. It was always about just developing. So I learned a lot about that. So my dream would be to have a space and to like help curate spaces for artist development and to teach the stuff that we're talking about here. I would love to have like a school that would be like a brick and mortar version of what I do on Instagram and what we do in these Zoom meetings and what we do at the camp meetings and what I do on tour.
But see, that's the thing. There are things like that in Seattle. Those Seattle people should be talking more to Tacoma so that they can tell the Tacoma people about those resources, so those resources can be spread out throughout the different cities. Isn't that craziness?
Yes, those things do exist. It's just we're doing different things. So it's the what they're teaching and what I'm teaching is probably not going to be,
because they're not in the industry.
No, because they have a different style and there's a different Seattle. If I'm trying to make it out of Seattle, there's a completely different path for me than if I'm trying to make it out of Tacoma. You can in Seattle, you can make it in Seattle and be like an established artist here and like be doing shows and like be world renowned and have enough of a fan base to support you in Seattle. With the venues you have and the studios you have and the resources up here, it's like it's not like you're far away from it. There's really enough for you to like locally like do a lot of stuff. Tacoma, it's a different path. If you want to make it out of Tacoma, you got to be loud enough to be heard in LA. I tell people, if you want to make it out of Tacoma, you have to be trying to become a legend. You're not gonna, unless you just want to do music for fun and you like are not trying to like live off of it. If you're trying to like be comfortable and be able to like support your family and like leave a legacy, you're gonna have to be amazing, and the standards that we have to adhere to it's not the same. Like I can't be Tacoma good is not gonna feed me. Like good enough to get a show at Jazz Bones is not gonna like, which I love Jazz Bones and we need Jazz Bones and we need alma maters, we need those places, but that's not, I can't make it off of what they're paying me. I gotta make noise enough to where people in Atlanta are like, come to Atlanta, people in LA are like, come to LA, people, I have to hit these other markets. I can, and Seattle's not really, even like even trying to make it in Seattle as a Tacoma artist is kind of like awkward, because it's like I'm not really from here, but I'm in this scene and now I'm being known as a Seattle artist, even though I'm a Tacoma artist, but all my fans are like, so we have to find.
So they should build up their own music scene, is what you're saying? Or
what I'm saying is that we don't have, Seattle has a sound. Seattle has like a culture, a musical culture. Like there's like when you think of Seattle rap, you can imagine what that sounds like, right?
No.
You can't?
Here in Seattle, they don't even know what they sound like, though. So if you ask one Seattle rapper, they might say something like, if you ask like an up-and-coming Seattle rapper or someone that's new to the scene or even outside of the scene, just someone who loves Seattle rap, they'll say Lil Mosey. Well, another person might say Macklemore. And then after that, it's just other rappers saying what their friends sound like, or they just don't know. Like, but there's no general consensus of what Seattle sounds like.
But there's a Mosey sound and there's a Macklemore sound.
Yes. That's
my point, is that like there's a if you can, not saying that these are guaranteed ways of doing it, but if you follow Macklemore's path, if you can, it's not like it's an easy thing to do. If you can follow that path, you can do something in Seattle. If you can follow Mosey's path, you could do something in Seattle. In Tacoma, you can't follow Macklemore's path and make it in Tacoma. You can't follow Mosey's path and make it in Tacoma. Louis, I know him as Rip, that was his name before. Rip is following Rip's path. Clem Rashad is following Clem Rashad's path. I'm following my path. Sean Brooks is following Sean Brooks' path. Black Soul is doing unbelievable things. It's still, we got to go back and forth between here and LA, because and if there's going to be a scene, we have to build it. So you're right. We have to create our sound and create our legacy for ourselves. And we have to connect the dots between the people that came before us, because there's a legacy of Tacoma music that is just so far back that a lot of us aren't really connected to it. And a lot of, I won't go there, but yeah, so we have to figure out what we do and how we do it, and we have to do it well, and we have to do it well enough that people that come behind us want to do the same thing, and that are inspired and see, and we have to make our path deep enough that other people can follow it. A lot of people like popped off and just left, and nobody knows how to get to where they went to, because it happened so quick or because they were gone so fast. So for me, I want to make it known and make it clear. Like, if you want to make it at Tacoma, this is what you got to do. And not even this is what you have to do, here's how you do it. Which I think there's something to learn from all the places that do what I'm talking about doing up here, because I think that's what we're talking about, is like the development places in Seattle. I think there's stuff to learn there. I just think that my experience as a Tacoma artist and how to prepare yourself as an artist from the Northwest going other places, it's probably different, because I had to go other places to do it. I can't tell you how to make it in Seattle. I have no idea. I still don't know how to make it in Seattle, and I know artists from Seattle that don't know how to make it in Seattle. But I can show you how to get from here to LA. I can show you how to get from here to New York. I can show you how to get from here to Atlanta, or from here to Florida. I can show you the standards. I can't make you respect them, and I can't make you take it seriously, but I can show you how good you can be, how good you need to be, and how to get there. So that's what I want to do. And that's not what I want to do. That's what I do now. And that's what I would like to do on a larger scale at some point. But honestly, I gotta take care of business and do a few more things finish a few more things I'm working on now that will make it like, oh, okay, he knows what he's talking about. Because most of the stuff I've done or I'm doing that would make people like wake up is stuff that I can't really talk about. And so that doesn't really help unless we're in these small rooms or having these small meetings. And I can say, yeah, so when I'm with this person, this is what they say and this is how they do it. But I don't do that publicly because those relationships are not public relationships. So I don't like talking about them yet, but soon we'll be able to. But yeah, my goal is just to help with the development stuff and to learn from the people that have done it up here and learn what they're doing, because it's important to know how to make it in Seattle. I think that's valuable. And I think if we can all come together and all help each other and support each other, I think that it just makes for a better scene for everyone. So,
yeah, I think we got it.
Yeah.
I think it would be faster if people realize how many different types of genres of just art in general, like even include comedy.
Yeah.
Like, yes. I feel like comedy, a lot of comedians actually, but being at the studio, a lot of comedians come through actually to record. This is a producing studio, so like
right.
I produce
podcasts
for like,
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so I produce for comedians, and like even the successful comedians that come in here, they're still like, yeah, the venues take every fucking cent of our money or whatever it is, you know. So like comedians have the same like stresses as a rapper.
Yeah.
A rapper has the same stresses as a band or
I
an
agree.
EDM artist or a pop artist. So I feel like everything would go faster if people realize all these different genres should just connect versus being like, oh, I'm just going to fix the rap scene.
Right.
It would be 10 times faster if you fix the rap scene with the bands
right.
and everything like that.
I totally agree. I think one thing I also want to do, and I'll say it on here too, just so people hear me say it. I think we need a battle of the bands.
Ooh.
In Washington.
Don't we have a sound off or whatever? What is that one thing that?
It's like you have to be like under 21, I think, to play that. I mean, like, we don't have a competitive scene. And I think that would be healthy competition, and that would help people to see what's out there and help people to kind of get humbled or to get the confidence that they need. I think that if every city, or maybe it starts off with like those local open mics or whatever, or venue, maybe like venue in every city hosts one. And there's 3 judges, and all the bands that can sign up and that maybe have to meet a certain, like maybe I don't know what they have to do, but all the bands that come through, or maybe the audition. And then if you pass the audition, then you get in the competition. Yeah. And then they compete amongst each other in that city. And then the cities compete against each other. And then it boils down to like the last maybe 4 cities, and it's a concert that everybody goes to, and it's at like Key Arena or something crazy. Yeah. And everybody goes to watch them. And whoever wins is like the top band I think, because there's people that there's this band called Down North that I love. When I first saw them live, I was like, I gotta go practice. I gotta go rehearse now. Like, I need to find a band, and I need, like, it woke me up to how good you can be and be up here, and to see that they were still grinding and working as hard as I was like, oh, they're this good and they're still like trying. So I'm up here comfortable, like I already did something and I haven't done nothing. But I think that we need more of that. I think that people coming to Tacoma and seeing how people respond to their music in Tacoma is helpful. And people going to Seattle and seeing how people respond to their music in Seattle is helpful. But even more, like, seeing a really good band play is like one thing that will wake you up as an artist, because I do think it's on the artist as well to get better. It's not just people with money paying for everything. The artists got to really show up and do their thing on their side as well. But I really think that, and maybe that could be the thing that connects the money to the people. It could be the battle of the bands. But I feel like something that would like spark some competition, some healthy competition, because there's still camaraderie, because it's a Northwest thing. I would do one for the whole entire world, to be honest, because I think it could grow into that, because every state could go against each other, then countries could go against each other and all that kind of stuff. But I know in Europe they do like a song competition where it's like the number 1 song is like, which is dope. So I think
that's what, like, isn't that what ABBA came out of? That was like
I think so. Yeah.
Sweden, not Sweden. Yeah, that's what ABBA came out of. I'm pretty sure.
I believe so. I remember, I think, was it Will Ferrell that was making a movie about that too? But yeah, so I think the things that we need, first, money, because this stuff is expensive. Even if it's just towards marketing and living, like, that still costs a lot. Mentorship or support, like leadership, competition. and
Therapy.
Yes, mental health and development, like in a safe, I guess all those things are underneath development, of the development umbrella. But and then just like space, like a studio to record out of, or the equipment to record, or a place to work out of. A lot of people need that too. But I think if we can get those things, when we get those things locked in,
we will get them.
We will. When we get those things locked in, I think we will. I think we will be what we deserve to be, and I think that we could have a scene like these other scenes that we see. I think we'll be different. I don't like when people say we can, like what Atlanta did. I don't think we'll sound like Atlanta, but I think that we could have a movement. I do think this could be a hub. It might sound wild right now to say that, but I do see this as being a hub for music and for arts and for creativity. And I see people coming here to get away from wherever they're from or wherever they're at, and to be inspired by this area, because we have a lot of amazing scenery, food, culture, people up here, but we just don't know how dope it is. A lot of us haven't left to be able to appreciate what we have, and I think that like pouring all those things into that will help to build some pride. It's like having the Seahawks and having the Sounders and having this hockey team, and if we had the Sonics back, like it gives you something to be proud of. It gives you something to be excited about up here. And one artist could be its own NBA team. One artist can sell out arenas or sell out stadiums. That we don't see it as, people don't see what something could be. They just see where they're at right now.
Yeah.
I remember being at I was doing a concert at Clover Park at a community college in 2014, and I was in a nurse's office that was probably maybe twice the size of this room. And there was like a table with donuts next to me, and I'm singing. I did maybe an hour and a half or hour long set of me just performing, and my daughter was in there with me. She's dancing, and I was in between songs. I would tell them, "Yo, my name is Will Jordan. Thank you so much for like watching my song. Please, if you can, go get tickets. I'm going to be performing at the Tacoma Dome on December 14th with Chris Brown. So come check me out." And they're looking at me like, "Really? You? Like, why are you here?" They couldn't see where I was going to be at, even though I'm telling them, because of where I was. They didn't have the vision to see like, oh, this person. And then sure enough, I was on that stage and I did my thing on that stage, like as if it was natural. Even I never performed in front of an audience that big, but I could see myself there. They couldn't see it. And if no one outside of them had seen the opportunity, if the people that were putting that show on were like those people, I never would have gotten that shot. But because they could see what I could do and could see my potential, they put me on that platform. So a lot of the people that have had success are out of touch with this era, or a lot of people that have seen success or seen artists make it are out of touch with this era and don't know who from this era could make it. So I think we just need to connect the dots between the people that have the success and that have the platforms and the resources, and the people that are in the mix with the artists that have the potential, and just to work it out and have faith and believe and see what happens. But until we do, nothing's going to happen, and people are going to keep moving away. So
we got this. I don't think it has to take years either. I keep telling people that.
It does not. It doesn't. It just takes somebody being smart enough to like invest into. I keep talking about money because nobody wants to talk about the money part. We always do these artist meetups, and then people talk about, I just don't feel inspired to have writers. Like, no, you're broke, and you need $2,000 to pay rent this month, and you don't know where it's going to come from. That's why you can't write a song. It's not because something's wrong with you and you're not good, or because you have writer's block. It's because you're stressed out and you can't survive, and you're way more talented than most of the people that are selling millions of records. But if people aren't valuing your music, then it's hard for you to see the value of the music. You don't know that the song you're working on is going to be worth $1 million to you because you're putting on a SoundCloud and it gets 38 plays and 114 views on YouTube. So it's not for you. It doesn't seem like it's worth millions. But someone that knows the value of music and knows what a song can do, like Young Thug's in the studio, he knows every one of these songs what it's going to make. So he's making 100 songs in the studio a day because I know as soon as I put this out, it's going to do this. The number's going to go up. But if you don't know that, if I told you right now, if you finish a song, it's going to make you $500,000. No, but it doesn't matter what it is. It's your song. That's what matters. It's going to be easy to go there and write a song and put it out. and you're going to put out another one and another one and another one because you know what it's worth. So we just need to learn our value and learn what stuff is worth and have people come in and invest. That's all.
For sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your new song dropping Friday.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So we'll probably, maybe
Same
today.
day as Drake.
Maybe if it's, it'll depend on what day. We'll figure out what day we're going to put this out. But
Okay. Yeah.
so maybe the song is dropping today.
Yes. Yay.
Let's talk about this
Celebrating.
song.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about? Like,
Is this the beat song that like it's not the Instagram
yes.
sample song? Is that it?
Wait, no.
You need to put that song out. That beat is hard as
Thank you.
fuck.
Thank you. Yeah, that song that might be next, depending on what we do with this record. This song is called Slip and Fall. It comes out Friday the 3rd, whatever day that is. If it's today, it might be, and it's also the same day that Drake drops. Yes. I can't wait.
Some friendly competition.
Yeah, that's important. I talked about needing competition, and that's what we got. This song has gotten the most attention and feedback for me before release. I've never gotten this kind of response from a record, and I've never had people calling me, sending me screenshots of their friends asking where the song is at, which has been really cool, and it gives me hope and reminds me that like I'm not doing this for nothing, and just to stick with it. But it's funny because I wrote it. A lot of my songs in the last maybe couple of years have been about like just living life and just trying to keep going, and like soulful, more like painful, artsy music. This was the first time I was like, in a long time that I've written a song that was like a love song, that was like a happy song, and that was from like a good place, and it felt good to write that. And I never wanted to be that artist that just only wrote dark music or was just put in this box. I wanted to be able to write everything I wanted to write and write about my real life. And sometimes as artists, we get to feeling like if it doesn't come from a painful place, it's not real or it won't be appreciated. So it was cool to like see that like I could write a happy song and like people like it. So I'm excited for it to come out. I love it. This is the best.
Does your daughter love it? I think that's the most important
part.
Yeah,
but it wouldn't make it out my phone if she didn't love it. I can't say enough about it. I'm doing a terrible job of promoting it because I like it that much that it's hard. Like I just get excited thinking about it because I can't really give a description of what it is. I know that when I was making this song, I wanted it to feel like you were taking a piece of summer with you into the spring and into the fall. Like I wanted it to feel like that transition out of like those last days of August when there's the really beautiful sunsets and the sun is still out late and we're still like enjoying like the last pieces of summer before things change. But also we're transitioning into cuffing season. So we're coming from hot girl and hot boy summer into the time where it's time to kind of settle down and wind down. So this song is like, to me, is that theme song where like you I want to reference this movie, but I know you haven't seen it. Have you seen Rookie of the Year?
I have not.
No, okay. So there's a scene in Rookie of the Year. It's one of my favorite movie scenes where they get this boat. It's about this kid who like breaks his arm and then it heals the wrong way and it like snaps when he like when he moves it forward, it like launches forward really fast. And so he takes a baseball and by chance like happens to throw it on accident and it's like a 95 mile an hour fastball or something crazy. And he ends up going to the major leagues as a pitcher because his arm is like messed up, so he can pitch really fast. So there's a scene where he and his friends they get this boat and they get some snacks and these like girls that they like, and they all go out on this rowboat and they're just having fun, or this like little makeshift speedboat, and they're just having fun on the water and enjoying this scene. And to me, that's what this is. It's like your cool friend has a boat and the girl that you like or the guy that you like or whoever you like is on the boat, and like this is your chance to get to know them and talk and hang out, and you see the sunset, and this is the song that comes on when you break the ice and you realize that they like you too, and then it's not going to be like awkward or weird, like, but like you're finally saying the things you want to say and you have good chemistry, and it's just like everything is working out. Like, because there's so much chaos, there's so much painful stuff going on, we're doing so much grieving, there's so much trauma, but we get those little moments where just like things are working out just right. And that's what this song is for, is like when you can just relax and your shoulders relax and your eyebrows relax and your jawline relaxes and everything is good. You got enough, you have enough money in your bank account to go do whatever you want to do. Like if we're going out to eat after this, I got that. And I might be able to get this whole table, and like my car is working, the check engine light's off, I vacuumed it out, cleaned it out. So whoever's going to be in there is going to like it. And I got my air fresheners in here. My house is cleaned up. So if we go back there after this, it's just like when everything is working out right. That's what this song represents. And the minute, I'm gonna have to send it to you so you can check it out, the full thing. But the minute it comes on, I promise you'll feel it. And that's what I love about it, is like, this is one of the first times where what I heard in my mind and saw in my mind and felt in my mind, like I actually got to paint the picture of it. So yeah, it's that song. And I hope to make hopefully a full project with that vibe. But for now, just getting one song is like a big deal for me, because that's a hard feeling. It's hard to, I don't feel like a song is done until it takes you somewhere, until like when you close your eyes, you can see exactly what the person that made it saw. You can see the music video. You can see the scene in the movie that it would be in. You can see, like, you can hear the lines that the people would be saying. You can see the cover art for it. You can see like the way that if you're at a concert, you can see the way the lights would be set up. Like, it's just all there. And I feel like I figured it out for this song. So.
Well, you sold me on it.
Yeah, man, I did all right.
There we go. Yeah. So what is the easiest way to reach a Will Jordan?
The easiest way is Instagram, is what I'm usually, Instagram or Twitter, but all my handles are the same. It's at Will Jordan Music, WILL Jordan Music. And if you want to like find more information or get in contact with me, my website, willjordanmusic.com, is the best place to go. But yeah, I'm on there pretty often nowadays, more than I'd like to be. You'll probably see me posting or talking about upcoming shows, or
Distant Soldier Boy.
Not Distant Soldier Boy, deleting my Soldier Boy disses, because I'm too sensitive and I wouldn't want to get into it with him. But
Will Jordan.
Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that kind of attention right now. I was just talking about how, like, if my favorite, he's not my favorite rapper, but I was tweeting, I was like, if my favorite rapper dissed me, I'd probably like make a song responding. My response would probably be a bunch of compliments about how much I love their music and how much they inspire me and how much I'm grateful for them, because I'm such a fan of music and music that I love. And I'm either a snob or a stan. I don't have a middle ground, or I'm trying to teach somebody and show them. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram or whatever social media platform you prefer, at Will Jordan Music. I try to DM back. I follow back as much as I can. If I can't follow you back, I'll still like some of your pictures or leave a comment or something like that. If you're interested in the artist development stuff, I'm talking so fast. If you're interested in artist development stuff, just like leave a comment under something or shoot me a DM. If I can help, I will. I'm working on not overextending myself anymore and burning myself out. So if I don't get back to you, it's not because I don't like you or because I don't care. It's about because I'm trying to do what's best for both of us and make sure that I'm mentally, physically, emotionally okay. So I will probably be slow sometimes to respond, but I will get back to you if I can.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
This is the NAST podcast with
Will Jordan.
And we did it.
Yes, sir.